Hello, and welcome to Paladino Live here on the sportstuff.com. This is episode number 20. That's right, number 20. Finally, the 20th show is here. Milestone number 2 is the number 10 was the first milestone. But anyhow, it is great to be back here. It is the 17th of July, a 1-month anniversary since I quit smoking cigars. So there you go. I am very happy about that, and the coughing is gone, well, for the most part. But anyhow, we are available on thesportstuff.com, as I said, and I thank all of you for downloading, as well as all of you on iTunes and MediaFly. Welcome aboard Paladino Live. It is great to have you. And we're going to talk about the Wolves and the Wild today, and a little bit of Twins, a little bit of baseball because, mainly the All-Star game. I'm not going to get too hot and heavy into that because, All-Star games don't really mean all that much. Really, they just don't, even though this one was kind of crazy. But we're going to go Wild, Wolves, and Twins in that order, just like normal. Got some news to talk about with the Wild and the Wolves, so we'll be right back after this announcement.
What's up, listeners? This is Farzine. I am the host of the Chiefs End Zone Show right here on thesportstuff.com, where we cover the Kansas City Chiefs, give our opinions, and go deep inside with the Kansas City Chiefs right here only on thesportstuff.com. We encourage you Chiefs fans, you loud Chiefs fans out there, to get on the show, voice your opinions, get on our boards, and talk with us. All listeners, including Bronco fans, are allowed in our show. So be sure you check out the Chiefs End Zone Show right here on thesportstuff.com with me, your host, Farzine.
And we are back here on Paladino Live. Again, episode number 20, and we're going to talk about the Minnesota Wild, first of all. A little bit of news going on. The Wild place Stefan Veilluex on waivers on Wednesday as a little interesting move by the Wild. It's because the Veilluex and the Wild were in a dispute in their negotiations. Veilluex wants a pay increase from his $595,000 salary from last year. Understandable. He had a very solid year, but the Wild probably, Veilluex probably wanting a little bit too much for the Wild to really want to go. So the Wild place him on waivers, and it's a strategic move as they figure, hey, if you feel you're worth as much as you say, someone will claim you. If not, well, we'll get right back to you, and we'll get you that one-year deal done. As Minnesota Wild, as quoted in the Star Tribune, did that with Richard Park a few years back. They put him on waivers, let him go all the way through the waivers, and Park was not claimed, of course, and was re-signed to a one-year deal, and of course was not with the team much longer after that. Could end up happening long-term with Veilluex. Veilluex did clear waivers, as just came off on the Star Tribune. Veilluex will be most likely back with the Wild. They'll probably just sign him to a one-year deal, and he'll be an unrestricted free agent next year. So that's pretty much where things stand with the gritty Stefan Veilluex. Valuable player, but not anything special. It wouldn't kill me if he's gone, because it just opened a spot for one of the young guys. As Doug Risebrough has quoted numerous times, he wants to leave spots open for young guys, so he signs Owen Nolan. So some things are changing here and there. Also, the Wild indeed signed Clayton Stoner to a one-year deal. Defenseman Clayton Stoner, he was on the Houston Aeros last year, was a pretty high draft pick, third-round pick a few years back, and has not made it to the National Hockey League as of yet, as the Wild's farm system with defensemen has been very porous over the years. They're just finally starting to address that. Finally. It's only about 8 years in, so better late than never, I guess. They also announced their schedule today, that they open their season against the Boston Bruins. Manny Fernandez and the Boston Bruins. Also, in the new NHL schedule format, the Wild will play each Eastern Conference team at least once. So that's very good. As you get to see all of them finally. You get to see Montreal. You get to see Pittsburgh. You get to see the Tampa Bay Lightning or whoever. You get to see all these cool teams out east, Toronto and Quebec, or not Quebec. What am I talking about? Ottawa. Sorry. I like that. I like this idea. It's the right thing to do. The NBA has done that forever and ever and ever. So it's good that you play everybody at least once and maybe eliminate some of those Western Conference games. That gets kind of old. You playing the Calgary Flames 8 times a year. It's like, yeah, it's entertaining, but it's stupid, at the same time. You gotta balance it out a little bit. So that is very good news. The Wild also play Boston, Tampa Bay, and the New York Islanders twice. So that's interesting. We'll find out what happens. The full regular season schedule released today, so hockey fans, check those schedules out for you. Not just the Wild, everybody. As the schedules are coming today, or have already come probably by now, the time you're listening to this, but you get the idea. Well, it looks like that's about it for the Minnesota Wild for now. A couple of minor league moves. They also signed Olevsky, the left wing Olevsky, today, along with Clayton Stoner. So 2 minor leaguers signed. That's good. Peter Olevsky, the right wing. We'll see how that goes. Both 1-year deals, as mentioned. Yeah, Stoner, it looks like both of them were. Yeah, Olevsky was a 3rd pick, 78th overall in 2004. Spent last season with the Houston Aeros of the AHL, recording 17 goals, 16 assists in 61 games. Not bad. 22-year-old Slovakian has played 3 campaigns with the Aeros since leaving his homeland, amassing 43 tallies and 92 points in 197 contests. Yeah, kind of not made it to the NHL yet. That's just the way it goes. Stoner at age 23 was selected 1 spot after Olevsky in the 2004 draft. So back-to-back picks. The 6'4", 212-pound native of British Columbia registered only 3 goals and 12 assists in 78 penalty minutes. And 78 penalty minutes, in 56 games with Houston last year. So those stats actually aren't that bad. But we'll see what happens. You would have thought you would have thought both of these guys would be on the roster by now, or at least have a crack at it. We'll see. Wild also keeping Danny Ehrman as well. So Gopher hockey fans that remember him, a very valuable guy on the Gophers. Still has not cracked the NHL roster yet. I would love to see him here. But with that, we're going to conclude the hockey talk and slide on over to the National Basketball Association. Here on the sportstuff.com, get on board the Viking ship with Purple Mafia. We will talk about the new Purple People Eaters and the best running back in the NFL, Adrian Peterson. This team is ready to make a move forward. Purple Mafia is available on the sportstuff.com along with iTunes and MediaFly. Simply download and listen to the most honest and passionate Vikings coverage. And we are back here on Paladino Live on thesportstuff.com, iTunes, and MediaFly. Real quick, I'm going to mention that on thesportstuff.com we do have a message boards. It is 100% free and 100% fun. Simply click on the button on the upper right-hand corner where it says TSS Boards. There will be a link and where you can open an account. It is free, as I said, and you can interact with all of us here on thesportstuff.com, all of us show hosts and members. We've had new members come one after the other, and it's great. We're growing. Let's keep this thing growing. And hey, if you're a podcaster or you'd like to be a podcaster, record a show and send it to Dylan. Look up Dylan on thesportstuff.com. Dylan Richardson is our executive producer, and we all love him. He's a great guy. And if your podcast is quality, you will be a member of TSS. There's a very good shot of that. If you don't make the cut, don't get disappointed because there's always a chance you can make it again. Just try harder. That's all. It's simple. Just keep practicing. Try harder. I mean, we're all trying to improve, as I am on a day-to-day basis. As we all need to improve. So, with that, definitely become a member of this site. You will enjoy it. It is worth it. Now, the Minnesota Timberwolves finally make a move with one of the three guys, the Craig Smith, Telfair, Gomes group. Well, Chris Richards, so I guess four guys. And guess who it was? Guess who it was? The one guy I thought was probably going to be gone. Now, this could be a financial decision, ultimately long-term, when we look at things. The Wolves agreed to terms with Craig Smith. Craig Smith, yeah. So, Marcus Forecaster, if you're listening out there, smile. Your guy is coming back. Your guy is coming back, Marcus. Congrats on that. I like Craig Smith as well. I am a fan of his. His defense is a question mark, but he is a valuable low-post offensive weapon. He gets it done. He really does. There are times that he has just exploded out there. And, he's had some 30-point games, some upper 20s, upper teens. He's a factor. And in 12-minute games, I've seen him have 13 points. So this guy can get it done on the offensive side of the ball. He has a really nice inside game, despite his shorter size, but nicknamed the Rhino and the Cookie Monster. We love to call him the Cookie Monster here in Minnesota. But, he averaged 9.4 points, 56.3% shooting from the field, by the way. So he's got a great field goal percentage because he's got that very solid inside game, as I mentioned. 4.6 rebounds in 77 games last season, including 11 starts. He recorded a career-high 36 in a game at Washington last December, so pretty darn awesome stuff. He was a second-round pick, the first second-round pick the Wolves have ever hit on. He was out of Boston College, despite the fact he's in Inglewood, California, so probably a Laker fan growing up, very likely. Lived in the same place as the Great Western Forum. Who could not be a Laker fan if you grew up there? So, with that, though, it makes things interesting. It definitely does. Sebastian Telfair. Now, he's remained an unrestricted free agent. There has been really nothing about him other than the quote a week or so ago. Kevin McHale said they want more than we can give them. So, okay. That tells you something's amiss there. And the fact things have been quiet, well, on PA in Dubai today, PA Paul Allen mentioned that he has a very strong belief, being that he has talked to some Wolves insiders. Now, something I'd like to get doing at some point very soon. I'd love to get into that grapevine. But he has the strong belief that the Minnesota Timberwolves will be making a trade for a veteran point guard. And Jamal Tinsley's name, when Jamal Tinsley's name was brought up, the Timberwolves said no. So that is not one of the guys they are after. But there is a possibility the player could be Kirk Heinrich of Chicago. With Derrick Rose being taken number 1 overall, that's a lot of stock you're putting in a guy who is a point guard. So you have another guy who has he has a contract, Kirk Heinrich, that is cap friendly in that it decreases year by year. That's very rare. Most contracts increase year by year. We know these type of contracts exist. If you've played NBA 2K games, they're on there. I've signed guys to that in the video game, but I don't know how interested the player would be in real life. But yeah, Heinrich's contract is that. And, it'd make things quite interesting if we got Kirk Heinrich. Heinrich did have a fairly crappy year last year with the Chicago Bulls until later. He was on my fantasy team. Didn't help much, but until later in the year when he really helped. But that's how it goes with some of these quote-unquote big guns in fantasy sports. Never cut them. Never cut them. Never. And don't trade them either because you're going to get crappy value. Simply bench them and hold on to them. But yeah. With that, though, now what do you do with Ryan Gomes? What do you do with Ryan Gomes, a guy I absolutely love and I actually favored over Craig Smith for a long, long period of time? Well, look at this paragraph here, or short paragraph, sentence, whatever, in the Star Tribune. Gomes' agent likely is eyeing the full mid-level exception of $5.6 million for next season. If Gomes signs with another team, the Wolves will have 7 days to match the offer or let Gomes go. Now, that's pretty much what I expected, and I expected. I'm not surprised by this, that he's looking at the full mid-level exception. Well, that's how it goes, and this could be a financial decision with Craig Smith picking him up, or, signing him. to what could be, maybe $2 million a year or so, $4 million over 2 years, versus signing Gomes for 5.6. Man, what do you do? What do you do? If Gomes does sign an offer sheet with someone, what do you do? That's a tough decision that the Wolves are going to have to make. I think it depends also on how long the contract is, because we have had we've been cursed with so many bad contracts, long contracts on this team over the years, that I'm pretty skittish on signing another one, man. Unless his name is Al Jefferson, pretty much at this point. Randy Foye, even, I'd be scared of that, definitely, until he proves himself. So, that's going to be a tough decision for the Wolves. If it was a 3-year deal, I do it. 3 years. Anything more, I can't do it. It's just too scary for me. Too many bad situations. Even though Gomes clearly is the kind of guy you can count on. I really believe that. I believe in Ryan Gomes. I really do. But it's a tough decision. Really tough decision. Other than that, it's kind of hard to really get a feel on what's going on. The point guard thing intrigues me, but then what do you do with Foye and McCann? So what do you do? Do you move Foye to shooting guard? Do you bench Foye? Do you trade Foye? Do you trade McCann's? McCann's already has been a sixth man. Not sure how really he wants to stay in that role for forever. And does McCann's really truly deserve to start? Hard to say. Does Foye truly deserve to start? Hard to say. Neither one, to me, has proven that they are a major factor on this team yet. And some of you may strongly disagree with me. Randy Foye's rookie year was awesome. It really was. I really thought this guy had a chance to be a excellent guard in this league, maybe an all-star after his first year, but man, after his second year, very hard to say. And, as I said earlier, if you take away his left hand, there's that tell in the NBA. If you take away Foye's left hand, it's over. So, there's a lot of decisions on this team. A lot of guys that play similar positions or play, there are too many tweeners on this team. And that can drive you crazy. There's no true point guard on this team. Craig Smith is kind of a tweener because he's short. He's a defensive liability. Gomes is valuable. He's like he's kind of a tweener too, between the small forward and power forward. Now you have two power forwards. You have no center. With the Kevin Love, Al Jefferson thing, you have no true center out of those two. And you got to think we drafted Kevin Love to start, and Al Jefferson sure as hell ain't going to be a backup. And that would be just retarded. So, and you draft Corey Brewer. What is he? What's Corey Brewer? Is he a backup? Is he a starter? Is he a shooting guard? Is he a small forward? Should he be playing over Ryan Gomes? I don't know about that. So it's, there's so many decisions that need to be made with this team. The roster is confusing to me. And I guess that's why they won 22 games last year, as I said in a video. Now, with that, I'm going to conclude this Wolves talk. And speaking of videos, the team I'm going to talk about next briefly will be the Minnesota Twins. And I made a Minnesota Twins video a few nights ago. Finally made another video. Put a lot of work into it, actually. It took me about 2 hours to make. It's not the Angry Video Game Nerd or anything. I'm not that good yet. But I thought it was a pretty cool video. I really enjoyed making it. Do check it out on youtube.com/Paladin Joe. youtube.com/Paladin Joe. It'll be the video right on the top, right on the front, because it's the newest one. Talking about the 4 pitchers as very valuable guys for this team going into the second half. It's going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, a quick announcement on that YouTube page. My 100th subscriber signed up today. 100. Now, by the way, subscribing on YouTube is free. Subscribing to someone's channel, as they call it, like mine, which is Paladin Joe. Do subscribe. It is free, just like the sportstuff.com. It's free, and it was great to see that 100th subscriber. My belief is it could have had quite a few more subscribers if I didn't have like a dead period here, and when I didn't really make any videos over the last 5 months, I made like 1 or 2 videos. So with that, I'm going to conclude this segment, and we'll be right back to talk a little baseball. And we are back here on Paladino Live, where we are never one-dimensional because we talk about 3 different teams and 3 different sports and, heck, even other stuff. Might even get into politics or stocks or anything, life stories, whatever you want. I also forgot to mention earlier, now, better late than never, as we like to say, we do have a voicemail line here on thesportstuff.com. It is 916-912-4263. 916-912-4263. Simply treat it as a voicemail, like you would anywhere else. Say who you are calling for, which show. So say, I'm calling for Paladino Live. Ask a question, make a comment, give an opinion, whatever you like, be even humorous, say, be goofy, whatever you want. You know, you're all welcome here on this show. As long as it's not too crazy or too stupid, you'll hear your voice here on Paladino Live. You'll be technically on air with me. I'd also like to mention I will be getting guests on this show at certain points. Possibly have Marcus Forecaster on here. He is an NBA guru, and you will enjoy what he has to say. Might have a guy that goes by Nate Dogg. He's also called Neil. So he may likely be on this show to talk a little Minnesota Wild or on Purple Mafia, which was a commercial I played earlier on this show. That is my exclusive Minnesota Vikings podcast. He will talk a little talk on there maybe also. Now, with that, we're going to get into the Minnesota Twins. Now, well, the home run derby, it's cool, it's sexy, but it's unimportant, of course. I wasn't really able to watch it, but everything I heard, it was pretty amazing. Josh Hamilton, unbelievable. Hit 28 home runs. 28 home runs in the home run derby, but did not win because Justin Morneau was steady, and that's what you got to be. You got to be steady and consistent in the home run derby, not just hot early and die late. Justin Morneau won the home run derby. The guy that was out in the first round last year, the former AL MVP and maybe future AL MVP if Hamilton slows down. Let's just hope none of their swings. Let's just hope they didn't ruin their swing, as that's always a tell in Major League Baseball now. People sit out a home run derby so they don't screw up their swing. I hate hearing about that kind of stuff. It drives me so crazy. It's just like, come on. You know, how about making adjustments in the second half? You know, because pitchers probably made adjustments and shut you down. That's really what it is. How about adjusting to the new way the pitchers are coming at you because they find weaknesses in your swing? How about that? Huh? That could maybe have something to do with it. If you hurt yourself in home run derby because you're swinging too hard, well, okay, we're happy for you. Maybe be careful. Okay, anyhow, there was an All-Star game. Yeah, it was a very long All-Star game. It was so long it could have been a disaster, as many have said. I apologize if it's a repeated type of quote, but, well, it is what it is. The game went way too long. Absolutely too long. 12 innings. Justin Morneau's name pops up again, by the way, as he was driven in to finally score the winning run. Oh, man, were they so lucky that we got that. Major League Baseball is so lucky that run did score at that point, because all of the relief pitchers had been exhausted at that point. They were on their last amount of innings that they can normally pitch without overdoing it, you know, overworking the pitcher. As was it an inning or two innings, I believe, for both relievers at the time, which is where you want to go. You don't want to overpitch them in an All-Star game, a game that means nothing. This isn't the seventh game of the World Series here, or seventh game of the ALDS, you know, DS, Divisional Series, you know, or even like, you know, like a late pennant race type of game where you're just this close, you know, this close to making the playoffs. It's an All-Star game. It's just an All-Star game. So, thank God it ended that way, and things didn't get crazy with people's arms getting screwed up. See, now that is serious. That is the real deal right there. unlike the home run derby. I don't know about all that stuff. People could come in and disagree with me. That's fine. Hey, I'm not swinging the bat. What do I know, right? Neither are you, though, out there. So think before you talk. Now, there is some intriguing news regarding the Minnesota Twins. Now, we're not going to talk about any games because, well, that's already over. I did talk about a game a little bit, very briefly, because it's just an All-Star game. You know, you don't need to break down the All-Star game. The Minnesota Twins are seriously pursuing third baseman of the Seattle Mariners, Adrian Beltre. That's right, Adrian Beltre. I like this. I like it a lot. It'll be an expensive move. I believe you'll be paying him $12 million this year, and I think quite a bit more the next year. I don't know if it's 16 or so. That could be very interesting. Could be very interesting. But the guy clearly is an offensive player and a great defensive player as well. Beltre's batting average has been an issue, especially the last 3 years. It's not that bad, though. I mean, it's 259 this year. He's had 16 home runs and 46 RBI. That would in 92 games. That would definitely add some offense to this team at a position that has totally died for the Twins since Corey Koskie left. And before that, you know, there was a huge gap in between Corey Koskie and a guy by the name of Gary Gaetti. That's a long, long gap at third base. And I mean, unbelievable, right? So, if you can get Adrian Beltre, I do it. As long as you're not giving up the world, do it. Absolutely. Here on the last 3 years, of course, all with Seattle. Last season, Beltre had batted .276, which is solid. That's not too bad. Had 14 stolen bases as well. 26 home runs and 99 RBI. Solid. 149 games. I mean, I'd love to have that. The year before that, in 156 games, Adrian Beltre, hit 25 home runs, 89 RBI, 11 stolen bases, and a batting average of .268. Not bad at all. It doesn't blow your socks off, but you got to factor in his defense is pretty darn good as well. The year before that, though, Beltre, fairly disappointing for the Seattle Mariners. That was the first of 4 years so far, or 3.5 you could call it. 156 games again, 19 homers, 87 RBI, .255 batting average. The year before that, though, in his contract year with the Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles, I had to. Boy, he sure likes that 156 number, doesn't he? 3 years in a row, he had 156 games played, 200 hits in 2004, 48 home runs, 121 RBI, and a batting average of .334. But, and there's always a but, that was the only year he batted over 300. Because, going in back from 2003 to 98, his batting average, .240 in 2003. His batting average, .257 in 2002. .265 in 2001. A good .290 in 2000. That was what you could kind of call his breakout year. And in 99, his first full season, he batted .275. And 15 homers, 67 RBI. Nothing majorly sexy, but not bad all the way back then. And as a rookie in 98, good old 98, he batted .215 in 77 games. So, so that's the career of Adrian Beltre, a guy I personally would love to have on the Minnesota Twins at third base. When you look at his numbers, you can tell he's a fairly streaky guy offensively, and that's nothing new for the Twins. You've had Kadire, you've had Jacques Jones, but this guy's better than both of them, easily. And who's your third baseman right now? Mike Lamb, Brian Busher. Okay. Alrighty then. They're better than Tony Batista, I guess. Well, Mike Lamb isn't. Maybe he's a little bit better defensively because Batista was like a hologram. I mean, the ball could be rolling to him and he'd lose it. So, he might as well not even be there. Beltre, to me, would be a major addition to this team. And if I'm the Twins, if you can get him at a reasonable price, do it. I would absolutely do it, despite the fact he will be expensive. You do have a stadium getting built right now, by the way. So, come on, make some type of move. This team has a chance to be extremely good with those 4 pitchers. And the bullpen is a little teeny bit shaky, but you have a guy by the name of Francisco Liriano that's about to come up at some point, one way or the other. Be it maybe he'll start out in the bullpen because there's no opening yet with Levon being the number 5, well, the 5th best pitcher right now, you could say, even though he's a veteran. There's no opening in the starting rotation yet until you trade or lose Beltran and free agents. Beltran. Levon Hernandez, I'm sorry. Getting all these Beltre and Beltran and all these guys mixed up. Imagine that, right? But this team has a chance to be extremely good with the right decisions here, and got to hope for the best with this type of deal here. As boy, would that complete this lineup. I think you have a complete lineup. Alexi Castilla and Gomez, Denard Span, if Kadire is gone at some point, or benched, whatever happens, or if he's just hurt forever. But yeah, Kadire, when healthy, can be dangerous. There's 2 guys by the name of Justin Morneau and Joe Mauer. They're pretty good. Brendan Harris has actually been pretty solid at shortstop. His defense is okay. It's better than he was at second, and his offense is okay. It's better than Adam Everett, who is virtually, he's virtually worthless. You might as well bat your pitcher when you have Adam Everett. So, Delman Young's batting average is solid. He doesn't hit many home runs. He hasn't driven that many guys in. But he's got a good batting average, and sooner or later, I gotta believe that Delman Young's power is gonna come. He's obviously a strong guy, and he's 22. He's not 32. He's got a lot of time to get better. Torrey Hunter at 32 popped big time. He started showing a lot more of what he really can do. So, it takes time for some of these guys to really get better. It really does. Baseball is a tough game. Tough game. As many of you know out there. With that, that's pretty much it. This is pretty cool news, though, that this Beltre thing is at least being talked about, as the Twins in the past did not make moves like this. Bill Smith, clearly a more aggressive general manager than Terry Ryan. Terry Ryan, very conservative, yet one heck of a drafting machine. The only problem is all those great players that we drafted, or good players, you could say, ended up somewhere else. Hopefully, we can keep some of these guys here this time, now that we're going to have a new stadium, because we've been preaching new stadium forever. And let's see if they practice what they preach. That is the quote of the day right there for you. Practice what you preach, Minnesota Twins. With that, I'm going to conclude episode number 20. I hope it was enjoyable for you. I thank all of you for listening. Don't forget to call the voicemail line, and don't forget to sign up for thesportstuff.com on the message boards. It is a lot of fun. Just do it. Come on. You won't be disappointed. Come on in and sign up. With that, I'm going to wish all of you a good rest of the week and a good weekend. Enjoy this summer, and we'll see you for episode number 21 next week or beyond.